What a crazy few days it's been in the cryptocurrency market. You can see here from the chart on this triangle pattern that we drew on a few days ago, Bitcoin did indeed break out massively to the upside, breaking through that $100,000 barrier all the way up to $103,000 before in the same candle crashing all the way down to $92,000. This is why we're in the cryptocurrency market, for this volatility. So exciting. And you can see since then we've come back to this support line, pushed back on up over $100,000 a coin again, ready for a weekend bull run. We're going to take a little bit of a deeper look at the shorter time frame. We'll go on to the hourly charts. We'll talk about some news that's happened in the Bitcoin or cryptocurrency market over the last couple of days before looking into the future and seeing some things that might impact the price over the coming weeks. If we take a look on the hourly time frame, you can see that again, since, just to recap, the 22nd of November, the price has really been tightening within this triangle pattern. You can see we've tested this low trend line a few times, the same with the upper trend line before breaking through on Wednesday evening here in the UK, all the way up to $103,000 a coin, right the way back down again to 92. As I said, you can see that we have since then tested this support line, the upper support line, a few times, wicking down onto it before bouncing off and up over $100,000 again, up again to about $102,000. So really setting ourselves up well for another push higher, which is incredibly exciting. Now, you might be wondering actually what caused the spike up. We can see here, actually, this has been some of the best news that we have had in a while, especially whenever it comes to Bitcoin. You can see here that Jerome Powell, who heads up the Fed in America, said that Bitcoin is not a competitor for the dollar, but it is a competitor for the gold. He compared Bitcoin to digital gold. This is one of the leading voices in the economy in the United States, accepting Bitcoin and saying it's not a threat to the US economy. It's a competitor for gold, which is such great validation for all of us in the industry. If we take a look as well as to maybe why the price came back down again, we'll look at the funding rate heat map. You can see again that on the 5th of December we got overheated. There's too much open interest in Bitcoin. Everybody was getting a little bit greedy whenever we were pushing that high, and there had to be a subsequent flush out. You can see here that we have since again had that flush out of open interest. There's much more breathing space, less leverage. We're now in a more stable condition to again push again higher. That is also verified by taking a look at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. You can see here we're still in the greed stage. That's normal in a bull run. You can see that where we were even yesterday, we were in extreme greed, up at 84%, but all the way back down to 72 now. And it was even higher than that recently, the 84. So it's been good to be flushed down a little bit, to have the fear and greed index restored to a little bit more of a lower level, so that we can again push on higher with price and greed. Who can blame us in a bull market like this? We can also see that for me, one of the most exciting things of all of this was actually how resilient the altcoin market was during this period of volatility with Bitcoin. You can see that we did again yesterday have a volatile market, but the reassuring thing for me was that altcoins didn't crash. And in fact, if anything, they just pushed on harder against Bitcoin. If we think back over the last 2-3 years throughout the bear market, anytime Bitcoin had a 10% crash, all coins were crashing 30, 40, 50, 60%. But the fact that we didn't do that this time, the fact that we are stable and actually building despite a correction in the Bitcoin price, shows me that we are in a really strong position in the altcoin market, and the narrative has moved away from Bitcoin towards altcoins. And again, that is verified by taking a look at the altcoin season charts. You can see again, we are officially in altcoin season. We're up at 86 over the 75. I actually saw this as high as 90 earlier on today, which is again incredibly exciting, pushing through into an altcoin season. The market is shifting more towards altcoins. If we take a look back again, just checking out the data from the last couple of years, you can see that during the 2021 bull markets, whenever we reached altcoin season, we actually stayed there from late March all the way until mid-June. So we stayed there for a sustained period of time. We've literally just broken into altcoin season, so I'm incredibly excited. Hopefully, we can sustain an altcoin season for the same period of time, get a few months more in this bull market, and see all of our bags absolutely skyrocketing from here. It's also been an incredibly exciting even day in the altcoin market. Taking a look at the top 100 coins here, there's been some massive, massive gainers again, despite the recent volatility. And taking a look on a weekly chart, it's green almost as far as the eye can see, excluding a couple of anomalies over here on the right-hand side. So again, just showing the resilience and the bullish nature of this market, which is just so incredibly exciting. There was also another bit of really bullish news which has come out, which has helped the Bitcoin price, and that has come from our friend Mr. Donald Trump. Over the last couple of years, we've had a really tough regime overseeing the cryptocurrency market over in the United States, overseen by Gary Gensler, who was the chairman of the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission, who sort of regulate the cryptocurrency industry. He ruled with an iron rod. It was not good for innovation. It was not good for the industry. Now Donald has come in. He seems to be living through his promises that he was harping on about during his presidential election campaign, and he has announced the nomination of Paul Atkins to be the next chairman of the SEC. Common sense regulations. This is what we love to see. We love to hear. And you might be thinking, well, that's great. Why is everyone posting Bitcoin go up memes and gifs? And who is this guy? Why is that good news for us? Well, again, we'll take a little look here into who the Mr. Paul Atkins actually is. You can see here that he actually previously was the SEC commissioner back in 2002 under George W. Bush's administration until 2008. And since then, he has been a leader in the digital assets and fintech space. He has been an advisor for a number of cryptocurrency companies, so he gets it. He understands the space. He is forward-thinking and a man, an innovator, and should hopefully be a breath of fresh air for us with some clear regulations that everybody can abide by, that we can thrive under, and again should hopefully allow us some breathing space for our bags to go up. This clarity, this excitement, this acceptance of the cryptocurrency market is only good for investors. It draws more investors in. It gives people more a sense of clarity, a sense of freedom, of liberation, that they know that they can invest in this industry and they're not going to have the rug pulled from beneath them with some unfair or unforeseen regulations. Incredibly exciting for us and as investors in this market. You can see as well, if we take a look at the economic calendar, there's a couple of other major economic events happening over the course of the next week. You can see the big one actually is that the US core inflation rate will be announced on the 11th of December at 1:30 p.m. here in the UK. You can see that we're expecting the core inflation rate year over year to be 3.3%, which if anything comes around that or under that is only incredibly good news for all of the markets, including the cryptocurrency markets. Anything above that is going to be not good. It's going to show that inflation might be slightly out of control, and that's a sign of concern or of worry for investors. But anything at or under the forecast for core inflation will be incredibly bullish. The market is very sensitive to these kind of big milestones in the economic calendar, and having that confidence that inflation is coming down as expected from the highs that we've been through over the last couple of years just gives investors that reassurance that they can continue to invest, that the market is, the economy are still under control and are heading in the right direction. You might see over the next couple of days, over the weekend, there might be some excitement in the cryptocurrency market, particularly if you consider altcoins. I mean, last weekend we pushed right the way through this resistance bar, and it was a great weekend. I remember just sitting looking at my portfolio, watching the gains roll in. One of the best weekends that I've had in the cryptocurrency industry. It was incredibly exciting, and I would hope for the same this weekend as retail investors such as myself finish their 9-to-5 jobs, turn more of their attention towards the cryptocurrency industry. Hopefully we can push on towards these highs of 429 billion just here. That would be incredibly exciting, and we are well on our way just now. However, taking another look after the the core inflation rate is announced, you can see that we tend to have another interest rate decision from the US Fed. Again, already mentioned during this video, since 2023, we've been on an upwards trajectory for interest rates globally, but again, particularly in the US. You might be wondering why I'm talking about the US so much, even though I'm based in the UK. It's because the US is the biggest economy in the world, so they have a lot of say over how the rest of the market performs. Since August, September this year, you can see that interest rates have been coming down. They were brought down by 50 basis points into September and 25 basis points into November. We're expecting that on the 18th of December, so a couple of weeks' time, whenever the next interest rate decision is made, that we'll see another decrease in the interest rate. Again, makes the cost of capital cheaper. It encourages risk on investment, and hopefully that correlates well with the cryptocurrency industry, which is again a high risk speculative industry. And in line with that, to get my disclaimer in, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Cryptocurrency is risky. You might lose all of your money. Invest at your own risk. Do your own research. Instruct a financial advisor, all of those good things. And you can see in terms of what we might be expecting for an interest rate decision, the market is pricing in a 25 basis points decrease in the interest rate. You can see over here on the CME target rate probabilities for the upcoming Fed meeting. They were 88% likely to decrease by 25 basis points. We do have 11% over here saying that we will remain the same, and that would not be good for the market. Again, we want to see the interest rates coming down. We want the cost of capital to be getting cheaper. We want the Fed to be easing the tightness on the economy to encourage more investment, again, in markets like the cryptocurrency market. Another website that I like to use as well is Polymarket. This is it had some really good calls recently. Had Donald Trump winning the election from a couple of weeks out by a massive margin, and really is a good indicator of how the market and what the sentiment in the market is, or how the market might be going. You can see that they have an 86% chance of that 25 basis points decrease, which again is the same, it's consistent with what we saw in the CME forecast. There's a 13% chance here of no change. There's also a 1% chance that we might get a 50 basis points decrease. Whilst it's unlikely, again, we actually don't want that to happen. You might be thinking that a greater decrease in the interest rates would actually be a good thing. However, that's not always the case because it shows that there might be some panic in the Fed. They might be worried about the economy. They might be knee-jerking or rushing to ease things. Whereas if they decrease by a consistent 25 basis points over a period of time, it shows that they're under control. It shows that they are leading the way down, that everything is going as expected. There's no knee-jerk reactions. There's no need to panic. There's no need to worry for investors. That is everything all under control in their opinion. What I would expect then in terms of what's to come over the next couple of days, you can see here that Bitcoin is breaking through the resistance. It's breaking through to all-time highs. I would hope for a bit of a rally over the weekend, both in terms of the Bitcoin and the altcoin markets. Again, with retail investors coming in and with that really exciting bullish news that we've had over the last couple of days. And into next week, I would maybe expect a little bit of a pullback or a stagnation in the market, particularly as we're coming into the inflation rate data being released. You can see the impact that was had whenever we had the unemployment data. That was, again, in line with Jerome Powell's speech about Bitcoin being comparable with digital gold, how much these economic calendar moments actually can impact the price. That was whenever the price soared up. Hopefully, again, we will get the same mid next week. Once we get the core inflation data, should it come in as expected or even slightly less, we might see some stagnation or a pullback before then. The markets hate uncertainty. They hate not knowing. People get uneasy. They just want that certainty, that clarity before unloading their bags. So hopefully, again, if things come in as expected, then we might see another push up until the interest rate decision. From that point, again, we might see a bit of stagnation, a pullback. If that comes in with a 25 basis points decrease as expected, again, would hope for a push up to there until Christmas. One last thing we'll take a look at is you can see here that the Bitcoin dominance chart is bouncing within this this range as we've drawn on previously. You can see this is a level of support and resistance previously. So we are seeing a lot of price action, a lot of price volatility in this range. So it's good to see Bitcoin sort of sticking around this whilst the altcoin market continues to push on. Again, it shows the strength in the altcoin market. We might bounce in this range for another couple of days until that the core inflation rate data is released, whenever I would hope again for a breakdown in Bitcoin dominance and a real push in the altcoin market. Just my thoughts, just my ideas. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Would love to hear some comments below. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. Would love for you to subscribe, and I hope that this has been a good use of your time. Until next time.